Here's a quick podcast for all you true crime fans. The case of the missing Reese's. It was me at the store with my mouth. Motive? They're Reese's. What was I going to do? Stop myself? Tune in next time to see if I do it again. Spoiler, I will. Wow, that had everything. Reese's, suspense, Reese's.
Deadlines move fast. So should your takeoffs. With Lowe's Blueprint Takeoff, you can turn blueprints into competitive quotes. Bring us your plans, and we'll generate itemized material lists to make quoting faster and easier. And when you're ready, we'll deliver everything you need straight to the job site. Visit the Pro Desk today to get started. Lowe's, we help, you save.
Come to DSW for the shoes, stay for the fun. Because let's be honest, if shoe shopping isn't fun, are you even doing it right? So go ahead, try something new. Try something different. Good different. Try something that feels like you. You know, the real you. And then definitely brag about it later. Because at DSW, you've got unlimited freedom to play. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW, let us surprise you.
Now tuned into the greatest.
So when that bag come, I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life, don't let nobody else do it. Cause when I gon' have Metro S550s cruising. Feel like you winning on the.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. Now, I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, just hit us up on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And then speaking of episodes, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but it's a lot of concerts happening. Some games happening, playoff baseball for MLB, even though my Tigers got eliminated. Football season's going on. Use that code, go to one of these games. Speaking of the games that's happening this week, coming up in week 7 of the NFL prime time slot, we have the Atlanta Falcons playing the Buffalo Bills Monday in prime time. And honestly, bro, I'm still a little scared. Like, I know it was a big emotional win over the Buffalo Bills last week. It was great. We kind of shocked the world, shocked a lot of people, including myself, even though I was a little nervous about the Falcons winning and what team would show up. But ultimately, this was a big emotional win for the Falcons last week. So I'm hoping they don't come into San Francisco with an injured team that they have and underestimate them, because 49ers are also a top dog as well. Like, this is a team that was here. They were in the Super Bowl just 2 years ago. And they've been in the playoffs consistently over the past few years. So, with the 49ers, you can't really count them out. I know they missed it last year. I know they have a lot of injuries, but Shanahan, you can always bet that he's going to cook up something on the offensive end. He's been to the Super Bowl multiple times. This team was just there 2 seasons ago. They're always competitive. So it's just like, you can't really ride the momentum of, oh yeah, we beat the Bills into this game of week 7 against the 49ers, because if you give them a chance, they will continue. They will figure out a way to beat you. Now, they're 4-2, and a lot of their games were decided by less than 5 points. Actually, all of the 49ers games were decided by less than 5 points besides one. And they haven't really played a lot of top defenses. I think they played the Texans, who are ranked top defensively, but ultimately Texans struggle early on getting that offense rolling. So I don't want to discredit any sort of wins or losses that the 49ers have. But above all, I know it's probably going to be a dogfight if it's not a blowout. And I don't think we'll just go in there and blow the 49ers out, considering that they're solid offensively. I know 5 points or less in all of their games besides one is something I'm paying attention to. It tells me they can close out games. it's telling me that they're figuring out ways to win these ball games. So Falcons are 3-2. They had an ugly loss against the Panthers, an ugly loss. It wasn't really ugly, but the Buccaneers. So 2 division losses which are rough, but ultimately they showed last week what they can be. I just hope we continue to be consistent, because the Falcons without that consistency are not going to be competitive at all this season. So some statistics here that I want to give heading into this Falcons 49ers matchup is Falcons are second in yards per game offensively. And the interesting thing about the Falcons being second in yards per game offensively is the fact that they played less games than everybody else so far. So that's extremely impressive. And they also have a lot of injuries going on right now on the offensive line and with the wide receivers. So very impressive for the Falcons. Defensively, they're pretty nice too. So first in defensive yards allowed, first in passing yards allowed, first in total yards allowed. On the defensive end, yes, they did play one less game than everybody, but I still think it says a lot that they can keep themselves in that top 5 conversation, yet alone first out of all the defenses in the NFL. So definitely want to give them some credit. 49ers have some statistics on their side as well. 49ers concern me because they're first in passing yards per game offensively. They're 6th in total yards per game offensively. And they also have a lot of injuries on that 49ers offense. And the latest sort of reports are saying Mac Jones is going to be the starting quarterback instead of Brock Purdy. So this does give me a little hope. No Fred Warner on defense for the 49ers. No Nick Bosa on defense for the 49ers. So there are some areas to be exposed on the 49ers. However, again, the last thing I want to do is underestimate the type of team that they'll come out and perform as, because Shanahan always finds a way to get the offense going. I have to give him respect. I hate how it ended with him in Atlanta of not actually finishing the Super Bowl, whatever. But you got to give Shanahan his credit. He always finds a way to get the offense rolling somehow, some way. So with that being said, even though Mac Jones is at quarterback, he'll probably make something happen. However, the aspect too that's interesting is no Bosa, no Fred Warner for the 49ers. The defense is not really as scary without Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. Now, these are huge hits to the 49ers defense, and it'll probably help the Falcons running game a lot tremendously, and also open up opportunities for passing because they won't be as aggressive on the pass rush from the 49ers. So we'll be able to obviously get the run game going with Bijan Robinson and his dominance of so far through the first 6 weeks of football, but ultimately it won't be a gimme type of game. One of the things that's interesting, too, is with this Falcons defense, looking at how beat down the 49ers offense is. And I know they got some injuries there and they still have weapons. But the thing is, when Mac Jones is going to be playing and he is going to be starting with the 49ers here, it makes me a little excited because Mac Jones has been giving up a lot of sacks so far with this team. Like, the defense in Atlanta, like, we kind of have an advantage looking at this 49ers matchup here because defensively, Atlanta has been balling. We've got a sack in each game that we've played. And for Mac Jones, whenever he's been playing his last 3 starts, he's given up 8 sacks. And last week, he gave up 6 sacks against Tampa Bay. So I'm expecting the Atlanta Falcons defense to go out there and at least throw Mac Jones on the floor at least 3 to 4 times in this game. Now, I'll be happy if we get him at least 2 to 3 times minimum. But ultimately, we got Josh Allen sacked 4 times in that matchup last week. So I'm definitely expecting us to go ahead and get Mac Jones down a few times. So the Atlanta Falcons also generated the 6th highest pressure percentage so far in the NFL. So that's a plus to their defensive side. And, bringing Mac Jones down is something that's on my list. So I'm expecting the Falcons to definitely get to Mac Jones and kind of just bull rush him, bring him some pressure and get him down on the ground to slow this 49ers offense down. But above all, I'm not trying to overlook anything from the 49ers perspective because McCaffrey is still probably going to be playing. I think they'll get Juwan Jennings back as well. Don't quote me on that part, but Purcell, he might be back as well. So you got a lot of different guys and some weapons on the 49ers offense that they'll come out and try and utilize. But above all, I'm expecting the shootout here with this Atlanta Falcons and 49ers matchup. Man, I think it'll be something to look forward to. One of the things that stick out to me too, and I brought it up last week about the Falcons being genuine contenders. So I was saying, okay, we have to actually be consistent to be contenders. I think the Falcons have to be consistent to be contenders. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The absolute large, probably the biggest win of the season, I think that's safe to say, was against the Bills. So we had the win against the Bills last week, and my biggest concern was how consistent can the Falcons be? Which team will the Falcons be? And that's also my largest concern for this week coming up against the 49ers is how consistent can this team be? Yeah, we had a heck of a performance against the Bills last week. Offensive explosion, defense showed up big, 2 interceptions, 4 sacks. It was huge, but how consistent can this Atlanta Falcons team be? And that's ultimately what's going to decide if they go on to be true contenders in the regular season and down in the postseason maybe, but ultimately, they just got to be consistent. We started off a little rough, and they picked it up. We stepped up big. Some things looked a lot different after the bye week. So I'm hoping we get the same sort of consistency. And if we do, then I think this will be a fun game for Atlanta Falcons fans. I'll put it that way. If we can stay consistent, it'll be a fun game. But ultimately, I definitely got the Atlanta Falcons beating the 49ers in this matchup. I think a lot of statistics just side with the Atlanta Falcons defense and offense in this sense. The biggest concern I have with the 49ers in this matchup is really that they're first in passing yards per game offensively. However, but to combat that, the Falcons first in passing yards allowed defensively, first in defensive yards allowed defensively. So I'm pretty confident that the Falcons defense can step up, and they've also got a sack in every one of their games they've played this season, even when the team was looking very inconsistent. Last week, they're coming off a huge rally from the defensive line of getting Josh Allen down multiple times. So I think this will definitely be a good game, but I got the Atlanta Falcons coming out on top for sure. So excited about this matchup, man, and I can't wait to watch this in prime time. I definitely don't want to get embarrassed. The thing I am most concerned about, I will say, is yes, I'm picking the Falcons win, but I just really hope the Falcons don't come out in Falcon. That's just what I don't want to see. I don't want to see all the hype go to the Falcons. Oh, they're good. They're first in defensive yards allowed. They're first in passing yards allowed on defense. They're this in running. They have a great offense. Look at what they did last. I don't want all that hype to turn the Falcons into doing the Falcon. I just don't want that. That's my biggest concern. It's consistency. So I'm hoping they show up big. I'm hoping they show up consistent in similar ways that they did last week. I want it to look even better. Still don't know if we'll get Ray McCloud back or Darnell Mooney back or even Jake Matthews back since he went down in the Bills game. But if we get some guys coming back from these injuries, I definitely have a lot more faith in the Falcons. But oh, man, just the consistency things is the main thing that just worry me with this Atlanta Falcons team. So I'm a little concerned, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm expecting a good game in prime time. Other than that, look, man, we got some more stuff we're going to jump into. Some news for the run, just kind of going to recap the scores. And then we'll break down some statistical things of, who is top dogs in defense and who's top dogs in offense, because a lot of things right now, we don't really know who's good and who's not. So we're going to break this down a little bit, and maybe we can get a little bit more answers, or maybe you can use it for fantasy, betting, whatever you use it for. Just have some knowledge on what teams is leading in what categories and all of these different things. So we'll break that down in just a sec. Don't go anywhere. We got some news for the run, and it's halftime. Let's do it.
If you're a custodial supervisor at a local high school, you know that cleanliness is key, and that the best place to get cleaning supplies is from Grainger. Grainger helps you stay fully stocked on the products you trust, from paper towels and disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Plus, you can rely on Grainger for easy reordering, so you never run out of what you need. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.